Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Ethereum. Before we jump to that, just want to say thank you for watching. If you're enjoying the content, please smash the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video and leave us some feedback down below. So we're still looking for that potential of a bigger third wave here, looking for this confirmation of a move up towards this 2092, followed by a fourth and an additional fifth to give us a nice clean five-wave structure here. At the moment, we are just moving around very choppy here to the upside, though there is potential that we're setting up a series of ones and twos here, looking for this to be 1, 2, 1, 2, and then looking for that bigger explosion to the upside. So we need to be careful, however, though, because we could just have a bigger corrective structure here where this is A, B, and then we have a C wave to the downside, in which case we are looking for the potential, we need to bear in mind we could see potentially moves down to these lower key support zones here, which would be in the immediate term, the 1722 to the 1657 area. And if we are actually forming a bigger flat correction, basically what we could actually see is this play out to the downside and come back into this lower support box here, this 1643 to this 1458 region. So this is something I'm just keeping an eye out here for. We could potentially be forming something like a diagonal here as well. This is something we can't rule out yet. So we'll have to discuss what needs to happen for these different scenarios to play out. Okay, so in the immediate term, basically we're talking about a couple of things here. I'm going to go over the bullish potential first, and then we'll talk about some of those things we need to be careful of, as basically as pitfalls to that come. So looking at this move here, yesterday we were talking about the potential. We had this as a one. We were looking for that confirmation of a wave two to the downside. We're talking about there's many different ways of counting this currently, but potentially you could argue that this is W here, X, and then you have an A, B, and a C. So we came down to that 1382 pretty much. We didn't cross it, but it's close enough. We could argue that this Y wave is actually completed here and that we could actually be looking for the potential move to the upside, looking to try and target out this high range here of this 2141.81 area. So basically, we need to get good structure to the upside here. We do seem to have a five-wave move here, but we need to be cautious. I'm going to discuss why in a second. But potentially what we could see is this move look to progress to the upside here, looking for this high target range. It's 2141. So what needs to happen for that to play out? So we're going to discuss this now. Basically, the way I'm currently looking at this move is that I'm treating this part of this move as still part of this previous correction here, and that we actually complete into this low here. There is, however, the possibility that we could have this, as an additional structure here, where this is 1, 2, and then we actually still have a fifth wave to the upside, something like this. And then I'd be looking potentially that, we've got some kind of a triangle in here playing out as a fourth wave, potentially. We don't have confirmation of that though, so we need to just be aware that this could look to break down and actually come back down one more time into this 1846, so 1849 to this 1836 range. And that could then be, something like this is an A, B, and a C. So we still have potential to move down into this box, but basically as long as we remain above this 1836, we have the potential for a breakout here. Obviously, we have to wait for that follow through, otherwise, we don't have confirmation. But what I'm looking for here is that either we move down, we've come down into the support box. The problem is the moves up look very corrective at the moment. It's possible these can develop into something else as we go, series of ones and twos, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then it starts to move up in a bigger way. But if we just get another five-wave move up into this box, potentially that could then actually tell us that we have had this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that would be this 1891 to this 1880. If, however, we don't have this fifth wave and we've actually completed into this area, like I've said, what I'm looking for is to find support in this area and then basically look for a bigger push to the upside. So we need to be cautious of this 1-to-1 area, this 1892. If we just have a corrective structure, it could be ABC, and then that could be completed there. And this could mean that we actually still have continuation to the downside to come. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this 1-to-1. But ideally, what we want to see here, if we're looking for impulsive structures, we want to look for this as a 1, 2, looking for bigger third wave up towards this 1922 for confirmation, and then finding the support of this fourth wave. So what we'd want to do is have a 3-wave move down here, and then basically another 5-wave move to the upside. If we do form something like this, basically what I'd be then looking for is that potential that this becomes another 1 and a 2 here, and then we'd have this starting to build good structure for a bigger move to the upside here. So you're gonna have to just be aware there are other interpretations of this, but basically if we want to look for that extension within the waves, this is what we're looking for. We want to see this 5-wave move develop to the upside, then we want to see a 3-wave move back to the downside, something like this, A, B, C, and then we want to see, continuation and bigger 5-wave structure to the upside, and then this would look to actually push us up into potentially some of those higher target areas that we're looking for. So in the immediate, the most recent count that we've got here as a 1-2, that's this 21,000 sorry, 2141 area. This could then become another 1-2 here, and then we basically look for that third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave taking us up into the zone. So this will be the way that this would have to play out. I did discuss this in the previous video though, however, we need to be careful because there is the potential this could also just be a flat correction here, and we could be actually looking for a deeper corrective move down into some of these lower ranges here. So for the most part, we were talking about the possibility of a direct sell-off here, but we came up too high now. It's not my favorite interpretation of it anymore, and we just need to be careful because as long as we fail to actually break back above some of these key areas like this 1879 and then basically this high point here of this 1943, we could actually be starting this C wave to the downside. And how would that look if we were actually doing that? So what I would be anticipating is something like this. Um, Potentially we can argue two things here. This could be something like this: 1-2, 1-2, and then we look to break down. But the problem is we have that what looks to be 5-wave structure to the upside. So it's not the neatest way to look at it, in my opinion. And rather, what I'm looking for is the potential that actually we might be forming this wave 2 as a flat. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into this point here. This is an A, 3-wave move down for a B, and then basically we're looking for a 5-wave structure to the upside for a C wave. So we've actually come into that typical rejection zone. It tends to be higher up here towards this 1618 most of the times, but we could actually have just formed a running flat within this area where we don't actually come and take this A wave high anymore. So we need to just be careful we don't start to break down here where this becomes another 1-2, and then we get a deeper move to the downside. So what we'd be looking out for there is basically, if I just throw this fib on here, first indication would be actually breaking down past this 1821 area, and that could actually be tying us up for additional structure here where this becomes 1, 2, 3. We'd look for a fourth wave and a fifth wave. Then from there we'd get another 3-wave move to the upside, potentially retest these lows, and then look for that continuation down. So this is something we need to just be careful of because it is still viable even if we do move up higher here, even if we do get, that extension I said where we get a push up one more time for that fifth wave, that would actually bring us right up into this 1885 area, be retesting some of these key levels here, potentially bring us up into this 0.382 area, which would be this 1875, and the 50% would be up here at this 1891. So this would be a little bit of a range here that we typically would look for a rejection off of a flat. So we haven't actually come up as high as that. So we need to just be careful, but we have come up towards this yellow box area, which is a typical C wave rejection area. So, technically speaking, we could be complete here, and then we could be looking for either a move down as a 1-to-1. So this is what we also need to look out for. Potentially, this could just be, A, B, and C, and we actually maintain these lows here. So basically, we just need to see how this plays out. If we do have this as an ABC, potentially we could see one more drop here, maintain these lows, and then look for impulsiveness to the upside. Or alternatively, if we get a move like this as a zigzag here, potentially we could look for we could look for that idea of the diagonal that we're going to go over in a second. But yeah, we need to just be aware there is still that potential. We could start to see, a five-wave move developing to the downside where this becomes A, B, and then we get a push down into these lower ranges here towards the 1709 to the 1688, which would bring us back into, some previous resistance here and also retest some of these lows. The key support zones are going to remain the same at the moment. Basically, we are still looking for the possibility that if we do break down deeper here, this 1643 to this 1458 area is a potential zone that we could look for that, for that support to come in. Alternatively, if we start to lose that, the lowest support range here would be this 1406 to this 1206. But once we start to lose 1206, it becomes more likely we could see those low prices come in. So need to just be careful. Obviously, we've discussed this before. There is still the potential here within this that this could be some kind of a triangle, and we've got a D wave and an E wave still to play out, where basically, this would be A, B, C, D, E, and then we look to break down. But, given the structure of this, it's not my favorite interpretation of it, but we'll have to see. Sometimes these things aren't as clear cut as we would like them. Okay, so basically, we're looking for these different possibilities. There are quite a few ways of reading these currently. That bullish potential is there. It just needs to, actually get out of this range and start hitting some of those targets for us to validate it. The thing we need to be careful of is, we could see something rather like this playing out, and this is still valid here. Potentially we could see this move play out still as a diagonal here, where this becomes basically a fourth wave. But what we don't want to see, and now this would invalidate the diagonal, is basically moving past this point of the 1764. So even if we do form something like this, we get a B wave here, we get a drop down for a C wave. This is going to be our cutoff point for looking at this as a contracting diagonal, because this wave 4 cannot be longer than this wave 2. So this is what I'm just keeping an eye on here. We get a continuation down here. We find support above the 1764. I'm going to be looking out for three-wave structure back to the upside, in which case, we could have something like a diagonal here. So if there's a diagonal here, we have two options really. Basically, what we could say is that, this is 1 to 3 here, 4, and then we got a really big long fifth wave here, or this is A, B, and C, and this is just a completely corrected move to the upside. Or alternatively, this is 1, 2, and then all of this diagonal becomes wave 1. We come back down into this lower range here, the 1790 to the 1685, and then we look to form that wave 2, and then to look to progress up in a bigger way. So this is going to be the things we're going to be talking about, and over the next couple of weeks and days. Basically, we need to find the support here if we are looking for continuation up. But yeah, we also just need to be careful of that fact we could still see a deeper sell-off here. So gonna have to just take it one step at a time and see what the market shows us. Basically, this is what we're looking out for. Be careful. As long as we can't get back above 1920 and this 1942, potentially we still have a sell-off to the downside. The bullish case here, basically, if we do start to rally, we want to get back above these highs and start to look for that continuation to the upside. Once we take these highs, that invalidates that potential of starting a five-wave move down. But really, until we do, we just need to be careful because basically we still have good structure here to potentially form five-wave moves to the downside. So always have to be careful with this. These can always look to extend out, and sometimes what you'll get within this is you can start forming additional structure, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then all of a sudden now you're in a bigger structure here where you've got additional waves to come to the downside. So this is why we got to be a little bit patient with this, because these moves can evolve here. So basically the bullish breakout I'm looking for 1826, that invalidates it. Looking for this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside. If we lose this zone, we'd have to then treat this as a flat, and then we'd potentially be looking for that lower target again, of either 1 to 1, which would actually, let's go off of this high. 121, which would be the 1776, which would bring us back into these lows, or if we're breaking down in a bigger way, the 1718 area where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'd be looking for continuation as we had shown in the previous bit of the video. So go back and have a look at that if you need to. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. As well as that, there are affiliate links for both Primax BT and BYBIT down there, both great exchanges we use on a regular basis. Check them out for yourself if you have not already. Great exchanges. Okay, everyone, I'm going to leave it there. Have a great day. See you next one.